This
Cedric Leonard.
conference will now be recorded.
Cedric Leonard. Al Peer.
Here.
Michael James.
Here.
Art Tyner.
Here.
Greg McCrae.
Here.
Mike Wigley.
Here.
And Claudia Hartness.
Here.
Okay, Mr. McCray is going to give our invocation tonight, so I'd ask that we all stand and remain standing for the pledge, please.
Almighty God, we are indeed thankful for another day of life, for another day of health, for a beautiful day that you've created for our enjoyment and our pleasure. Father, may we always be thankful, mindful of your blessings, and give appropriate thanks. And Father, as COVID is still on our daily minds, it seems to dominate our thoughts, and we pray for healing for those that are suffering from that sickness. Father, we pray for those, for comfort and peace, for those that have experienced loss as a result of it. But Father, we also give thanks for all those who have recovered, and we pray their continued blessings on all. Father, we are thankful for the opportunity to serve this community. May we be guided by you tonight and daily as we serve this community, and may our discussions and our decisions be beneficial to the citizens of Monticello and be pleasing to you. Thank you for Jesus Christ, our Lord and our Savior, your precious Son. It's in his name we pray, and for your glory. Amen.
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 Pledge allegiance to the United States of America.
And to
The republic for which it stands, one
Nation,
under God,
with liberty and
indivisible,
justice for all.
with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, next I presume you all had a chance to go over the minutes, so we need to approve those. Did anybody have any questions about the minutes? Corrections?
I have
I
a
move
question.
Who asked that?
Me,
Okay, yes, ma'am.
were the minutes in what was brought to my home, or were they online? Because I missed them.
How does your packet normally deliver?
The packet that I have right after the agenda is all of the reports, the budgets.
Is your packet normally do you normally get your full packet online?
I seen it online, but I didn't see it again. It may have been there. Patty, did you send it? Taryn, that's who sent it. No problem though. No problem. I can skim over it. Y'all, I'm sure they're fine. Go ahead. I just want to know where they are.
Well, if you normally get your full packet online, that's where they are.
Okay. I didn't see that this time, but that's okay.
Okay.
Mayor, I move we accept the minutes as presented.
Thank you, sir. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor, please signify by saying yes.
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 Those opposed, no. Okay. Minutes are approved. Thank you. Next is reports and presentations. I think I spoke with Mr. Tyler James today, and his report was basically that they've been waiting on the budget to get passed, so they didn't really have anything to report. So next is Boys and Girls Club. Miss Tina Randolph, are you on?
Yes, ma'am, I am. Can you all hear me?
We can.
Okay, great. All right, so as I always say, I thank you all for so much support, concern for the Boys and Girls Club and everything like that. With the second 9 weeks ending. We ended pretty good. We had 49 students attending on a regular basis, and we had 14 of those 49 that made all A's, and that was like 29%. We had 30 that made A's and B's, which is about 61%. And so for a total of 44 out of 49 did make honor roll, and that was like 90% of our kids. We did have 5 that did not make the honor roll, but they did increase in all of their grades. And we also run a mentoring program with Character Education, and we get feedback from the parents. We'll do a parent survey and that type of thing, and we'll randomly select a few teachers just to see if the kids are improving in their behavior, their citizenship, and just how they're relating to other students and staff at the schools. And so all of the kids improve with their Character Education mentoring program. And we have begun to talk about the summer. That will be a very strategic thing that we have to work on, because we'll have a lot more kids, but still a limited number in certain areas where they can have access to. And so we're working on now trying to get a huge, not a huge contract, but a huge amount of sanitizer so we can clean the gym daily. So that is where we'll have our breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Well, evening snack. Sometimes dinner, depends on how long the kid stays, and that type of thing. So we'll be working on trying to figure all that out, but we have classrooms that we will utilize to still keep the kids separate, but yet together at certain times. And then we'll be checking to see, and Mayor, you might even know if the pool will be open again this year, because, we access the pool every year.
Well, sorry, go ahead.
And so if that's still in the plan for the pool to be open, we'll, incorporate that plan in our summer activities as we usually do every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays from 1 to 3. But we'll have several parent meetings so they can understand, all the protocols that we'll be working for the summer and that type of thing for COVID safety. So that basically concludes our report, but I will be, getting with you and a few others to just give us some more insight and some other safety measures that we can take that you guys might can help us with on just being safe and other activities that we might can come up with, because it's so limited. Even playing board games, we have to be so careful and so cautious from touching things.
Okay. Well, thank you, Bettina. And that's awesome about the number of kids you had on the honor roll.
Yes.
And if there's any way possible that we can have the pool open again this year, we're going to. I mean, I think
great.
That's really invaluable service to our community, and it gives a lot of parents something for their kids to do during the day. So
I've been really shocked. We've had calls already for summer. Parents looking for spots. I want to get put on the waiting list, and the kids, of course, the pool is their highlight.
Right. Yeah. Well, it was my highlight as a kid too, so I understand.
Okay. Well, thank you all.
Thank you. All right. Next is Planning Commission, Mr. Dan Boyce.
Hey, y'all. We met 2 weeks ago, and we reelected Jay Jones as our vice chair. Kevin Grant will be our secretary, and I'm staying on as the chair. We had more than 500 people participate in the online survey that we recently concluded, and we're looking forward to getting the results and analyzing those as our first step in our community study. Deep thanks to Nita McDaniel for making that all happen. We sure appreciate that. As far as that community study goes, getting maps drawn up by Eagle Forestry will be just a tremendous benefit for us as we start working on the study and begin drafting our preliminary plan. And we really appreciate council's support in our obtaining those tools as we can. And finally, we received a draft of a sign ordinance, and we sent that out to the MEDC and the Chamber of Commerce for input. And Joe Burgess kindly put it up on Monticello Live for community to see. And that's my report, and I'll be glad to field any questions.
Okay. I've already gotten an inquiry from the population about our sign ordinance,
Okay,
which I, had to say we don't have one. That was
right.
an attempt at starting. So anyway.
Yep.
All right. MEDC, Nita McDaniel.
Evening, everyone. My report for recruiting new business and industries. I have subscribed to a new database to expand on our lead generation for firms that are expanding and growing. As a result of that, I actually have one new one that I am in the process of preparing my submission for a builder. Also, since I wrote my report, I have one new prospect that I've received from Arkansas Economic Development Commission that I have a deadline of February the 1st to submit a packet for a site. So I'm in the process of working on 2 new prospects. Number 221 that has been on my report for a number of months, I'm actually taking it off. It is now dormant. I haven't had any new communication with them in quite a while, so that one will be going to my inactive file. But number 710, no, I'm sorry, it was 710 that's dormant. 221, there's no change on it at this time. And on update for you on Scoggin Drive, I think you received my email that explained that now in the design for the Scoggin Drive project, RDOT has included roundabouts for the intersection of Jordan Drive and Scoggin Drive and Old Warren Road and Scoggin Drive. So we have time now to plan for if we want something special in the median area of these roundabouts. So the mayor and I have met a couple of times. We met with some folks this morning. Dan Boyce was one of those, trying to decide. There is a 277-page document that tells us what we can and cannot do in those median areas because it is a state highway. So we are trying to find a way to make those look attractive because it is our health and education complex area, and we want it to be something that looks nice. So we're going to continue to work on that. I appreciate the mayor and Dan and Mark Spencer and Tom, help me out, Mayor Richard. I appreciate their input because they had some really great ideas about some things that we can do for that. And the mayor has also reached out to someone concerning grants that might help us pay for some of the cost of a nice installation in those areas. So that's something exciting. It's going on in conjunction with the Scoggin Drive project. And as I emailed you earlier reported, that project now is set in the state transportation plan to go to bids somewhere between January and July of 2022. So we are getting closer. It is fully funded now. It's just patience, and that's hard for me sometimes. We've worked on that for a long time. So, but good things coming on that project. Also on existing business and industry, the project that we've been working on with Interfor for quite a while. As you know, we constructed the public rail access to give our existing industries a place to ship by rail if they didn't have a rail spur. Interfor is one of those industries, and they are the one that is shipping quite a bit by rail every week now using that public rail access. And we have now executed a deed for property adjacent to that for them to construct a warehouse. So now they are working on their permitting application with the city to start construction of that warehouse. So again, showing good signs with our existing industries that they are strong and doing well. I have visited with all of our major manufacturers, and all of them are reporting that they are doing well. They're just facing the same challenges as everyone else is with the COVID pandemic and employees that have to be quarantined and so forth. But overall, I'm not alarmed at anything that I've heard from existing industries. Also, to give you an update on the historic post office building, the mayor did sign the notice to proceed with the contractor. So as soon as weather allows, that work will begin on the exterior of that building, and hopefully we can get it dry soon. So it is the first phase toward fixing that building. The moisture has done a lot of damage to the inside of the building, and I would encourage all of the city council members at a time when you can walk through the building and just see what it looks like, because we will have to plan over time to repair what's been done, and we will have to go back to historic preservation for additional grants in the coming years to try to address the problems with that building. So please take a look at it when you can, so you'll understand what the situation with that building is. And that way, as we go along and bring new pieces to you, you'll kind of have a visual appreciation for what's going on with that building. As Dan reported in strategic planning, we had, I think it was 537 responses to the online survey. That wasn't as many as I'd hoped for, but at least it met that minimum target of 500. So now we're working to set a date for our local leadership team to have an online meeting with the team from UCA and Entergy so that we can hear what the results of that survey have been. That compilation of the survey, you will get a copy of it and it will be made public. We had a lot of questions from people who took the survey through the MEDC Facebook page asking, if they would be able to know what the results are, and I would answer back and let them know, yes, this is not something we're going to keep to ourselves. We do want the community to hear what the feedback through that survey was. So we're excited to see it ourselves, and you will get a copy, and then we'll be able to use it for planning some actual strategic doing. And tied to this whole process, if you recall, there is a $1,000 grant that we'll be able to use to do something as a result of this survey. So we'll be really excited to see where we can go with that. And also another highlight, we have placed an ad again. This is something we've done annually for the last several years. We've placed an ad excuse me, in the Arkansas Economic Development Guide. That guide is used by the state in mailers and in the AEDC's agency promotions. So we, Monticello, do have a full page ad in that guide. So we're really happy about that. And that was published this month. I haven't got my copy of it yet, but I know it's coming out this month. So we continue to do our website promotion through social media in targeted markets of Dallas, Houston, Chicago, Seattle, Atlanta, and New York, trying to target those consultant areas that we typically hear from. So we're doing the best that we can to get Monticello in front of as many as we can. And I do feel good about the new lead generation that we're doing on both manufacturing and large firms as well as retail. I have visited again with Colliers, who is managing North Park Shopping Center, and they are definitely working with a firm to fill the former stage property. And they had reached out to me asking for an architect that I could suggest to do a floor plan for the suites that are available there. So we know that they're working very seriously with someone. So we look forward to seeing that come to fruition. And if you have any questions about my report, I will be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Ms. McDaniel, back to the Scoggin Drive. What were the locations of those potential roundabouts again?
At the intersection of Jordan Drive to Scoggin, and at the intersection of Old Warren Road.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you all.
Thank you, Nita. All right, and I'm Ms. McEwen, I'm so sorry I skipped you a few minutes ago. Would you like to give your report now?
Good evening, everybody. And I didn't even notice because I didn't get a list of the schedule, so I'm good with just jumping on. We are looking into this year's fundraising ideas here at the center with Valentine's Day coming up. Looking for new ideas on ways that we can do fundraising with the COVID pandemic to earn money here at the center. Our contribution cost went up to $3 as of January 1st, and we haven't really seen a big drop with that happening as of the beginning of the year. Our numbers for our home delivery needs are still increasing. Signed up 3 new clients as of today. We are looking for a donated fridge. I found a company that could decrease our milk cost in half as long as I can provide a fridge for that milk to be put in for the clientele. But other than that, we are just plugging away trying to get this year started. Do you guys have any questions for me?
On your donated refrigerator, are you talking about an industrial refrigerator, or what type of refrigerator are you looking for?
No, ma'am. The smaller, the better. If it could go on the beverage bar, that would be great, but just a house-sized fridge would be suffice too. It will be sitting in the dining room, so it has to be in good condition, no leaking, any of that sort of thing. But as long as it can hold about 300 milks, that would be a normal size fridge.
Okay. What's the number to reach you? I have a side-by-side with a big refrigerator and stuff. I'm gonna talk to my husband and see if we can donate it because it's just in my storage since we moved.
Oh, okay, great. My number is the number here at the center is 870-367-2434. And yeah, just let me know and we can take a look at that. Thank you.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Anybody else have any questions for Ms. McEwen? Okay, awesome. All right, next is Police Chief Jason Akers.
Well, it's good to be with you folks. I emailed you a copy of the police department statistics for the month of December. If you didn't get it, it was in a group email, but if you didn't get it, let me know. I could forward that to you. Just to highlight some of the things that we worked on in December and some of the things in January. We've continued to work actively in community-related issues. We've been able to partner with some folks to assist in what small homeless population that we have. We've got some things donated for cold weather for people, some sleeping bags that officers, as they encounter people who are homeless, they can provide them with some self-care things and some ways to stay warm. We did the same thing, if you'll remember, with our Shop with a Cop this year. Instead of, due to COVID, we didn't feel comfortable maybe doing the traditional shopping with the kids. So we addressed an issue that's kind of near and dear to a few of our officers, and that's the care of foster children that are moved from place to place. And some of these children, you can imagine, have their clothing and personal items in trash bags and things like that. So to make those things as less traumatic as we can for what we can do, we provided duffel bags that were personalized for the kids. They have some warm clothing, jackets in the bags, and a gift card for them to be able to buy something for themselves. We continue to distribute food as we can to several local religious institutions and leaders as they have members of their congregation that are affected by COVID. We do that through the AT&T grant program, the Patrol Pack program. Some of the things that the officers keep some packs in their cars, as you know, and as they encounter people who are hungry, homeless, or just in a bad way, that they can provide them with enough food to get them by for a couple of days. So from that standpoint, we're continuing on with those programs, and we're working on a few more. One of the ones we're working on, Pam and I have talked about it extensively, one of the most at-risk populations in our communities, our elderly, not just from physical abuse or whatever, but also from financial abuse. And we're looking into, we've obtained the literature and the curriculum and stuff that we're going to need to teach classes to our elderly to help them protect against identity theft and identity fraud. We're looking, hopefully, whenever COVID dies down and we can all get back to somewhat normal, maybe doing that at the Senior Citizen Center and helping our elderly maybe do, with this issue. Most of our identity theft cases, a lot of them come up, they are the elderly. I know it affects our lending institutions, and as things get more digital, sometimes and me included, I don't like, I'm not that adept, let's say, at these new ways of doing things, paying bills online. So we're going to try to help folks put some things in place to where they can hopefully not become victims to this epidemic that we're seeing with elderly being financially abused. Along the law enforcement side, we'll have 2 officers that will be receiving commendations. We had a shooting back around the end of the year after the last council meeting before this one. Two of the officers that arrived on scene encountered 2 people who were shot. One was shot multiple times. Well, they were both shot multiple times. One was shot 7 times. The officers, along with other EMS staff and other law enforcement officers, acted quickly. They were able to preserve evidence on the scene and at the same time apply tourniquets to both victims who were shot. No doubt one of the cases, had the officers and EMTs on scene not done that, there's no doubt it would have been a homicide. So those officers will be receiving those commendations this week. We also had a joint investigation between the police department and the drug task force and several other law enforcement agencies based on some information that Monticello officers obtained. It was forwarded to the task force, and those officers and officers from here and task force agents were able to execute a search warrant in Warren. Resulted in over 15 pounds of marijuana, but an additional 3.5 pounds of methamphetamine. That's street values over $200,000. That's a big lick for such a small area. So we're proud of those officers for putting themselves out there and doing the dangerous work. On a good note, we had just a good month. I mean, we've had a lot of support from the public on a lot of the programs that we're doing. We've got some pretty good things in the works with some mental health professionals that we're going to try to address on a local level. So just kind of stay tuned for that stuff. We also are close to financially being able to put the cameras up. We've got cameras, at 425 and 278. Second spot for accidents in Monticello is down by the Walmart entrance there at the red light. We hope to have that done within the next month or so. We have got tentative news that we've obtained a grant, or we'll receive a grant that will enable us to put cameras at the park, at City Park. And we'll have a couple of extra sets that we're going to be able to, we're looking at some areas, maybe down by the college, maybe Jordan Park as well, to try to make our parks a little safer. These cameras can be viewed at the police department in real time by dispatch. So when something's going on, even if it's not being reported, our dispatchers can look and see what's happening on scene and advise the officers while they're en route of the situation, the look on the ground there. Other than that, is there any questions? Anybody have any questions or concerns or ideas?
Chief, any update on the drug and recovery dog?
He is back. Yes, sir. He is back. There's 2 levels of certification for dogs. There's the National Drug Detection Dog Association, and there's another one. The acronym is NCATS. NCATS is typically the more difficult. That was the route that we chose to take. They graduated the academy last Friday, got back late Friday afternoon, and have been out working some this week, getting adapted and getting acclimated. The dog has made his rounds, I think, through City Hall, and he's getting to know everybody. And so far, we're excited about the potential. He's doing real well on tracking and doing real well on drugs. We think tracking may even be a strong suit, which is good for us. That can be utilized with dementia, anything from missing children to dementia patients. So we're excited about the prospects, and we're ready to get it rolling.
Anybody else?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jason.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, Fire Chief Eric Chisholm.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Fire Department, we've just been kind of staying in the station, not going out a lot other than guys going to eat and everything. Been taking care of a few inspections that have been called in, daycare. We took care of the schools right there at the end of the year. Our call volume's down, but when our call volume's down, it's good for the community. We ran 24 calls so far this month. The guys have been taking advantage of the downtime more or less at the station, going back over the basics, been in the books, the basic essential manual, the inspection manuals. The guys on duty have logged 85 hours of training so far this month. We're fixing to start back on our pre-plan inspections that we do the first part of the year every year. We're fixing to get geared up and start doing those. Back in November, we changed over to a new reporting system because our old one was antiquated and getting to be where they weren't supporting it anymore. The company bought them out and they were phasing our system out and going to a new system. So we've changed the system, been trying to get everything moved over, updated. It's a learning curve. The guys are all having to relearn how to put information in, how to get information out of it. So we've been working on that, but it's improved our vehicle inspections. Now we can do our inspections online with iPads. Go out there, do your truck checks, make sure inventory's there, make sure our trucks are in good working condition. Also, it's improved our scheduling of inspections. When somebody calls in, we used to do it on paper, leave a note. They'd have to go, I'd have to make sure to tell somebody, or they'd have to read the note. Now, we can schedule inspections online, send a message out to whoever's going to be on duty that day. When they come in, they see it, they can go do the inspection. The inspections are online now as we do them. Instead of having to go back to the station, print out reports where they passed or failed, now they can do it on scene and email a letter to the business owner or daycare owner, whatever, at the scene and not have to go back and make multiple trips. Our grant that we received last year on the air packs took a while to get the air packs. I finally got those in 2 weeks ago. We did in-service on them last week at our fire meeting. Used them night before last, I think, at a fire. Finally got the invoice in on those, and I'll be working with Miss Norris hopefully this week to get it turned in so we can get our reimbursement on that grant. Any questions for anything we got going?
All right, thank you, Eric.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Next is Public Works, Mr. Charlie Hammock.
Good afternoon. How y'all doing? This month it's been kind of, well, for me it's been kind of slow because I was out for the first part of the month. The guys, they worked on several water leaks while I was gone. Since I came back, we've been putting a lot of covers, fixing several water leaks in between the rains, and then we're trying to, patch some of the potholes that all the rain has caused. We're still working on the docks out at the lake in between the rains too. We just, whatever comes up, we've been taking care of. It's just been a little slow while I was gone, but they took care of it while I was gone. So I'm back and we're going to see what we could do and get everything taken care of.
Anybody
Any
have
questions?
any questions, Charlie?
Yeah, I have one question for Charlie.
Go ahead.
Hello? Okay, Charlie,
You can go ahead.
As far as cleaning out the ditches, what we need to do to go about doing that? There's a lot of ditches that are settled with dirt and sediment and grass growing. What we need to do to clean those out so the water can flow instead of run across the streets?
On a lot of the ditches, there's some that we can clean out, but there's a lot of residents that don't want to ditch their yard because they're mowing. They don't want to have a ditch, a shallow one in it. If they want to, so it'd make it easier. But there's some that we've been trying to work on as we go, with a lot of trash and stuff in it. We've been trying to clean them out. between water leaks and sewer projects, with the leaks and stuff we had on the sewer lines, we've been doing it, but during when it's raining, we can't do a whole lot, but because when you're trying to haul the mud off, you get it all over the roads. But as soon as the rain stops and some of this water goes down, we can start on cleaning some ditches out. There's a list at the office that they could call if they would like their ditch to dug out. We could come put it on the list, and we can work on it as we go.
Okay then. Well, I just call and give you a list of the streets that need to be cleaned out, because that shouldn't be a problem for as the people not wanting it, because I know we have a right of way to do that.
Yes, on some of the right of ways though, the front of the properties, it might not be a water or sewer main. It's some, if they got their yard sodded and stuff, they might not want us to dig up the stuff like that. But it all depends on where it's at. And a lot of the housing projects, Western Pines and stuff, don't have ditches. They just have a small drainage. But there's others that do. But yes, if you send me that list, I will see what I can do to take care of it.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else? Okay, thank you, Charlie. Next is City Inspector, Mr. Brian Rogers.
Good evening, everyone. This month we've had four ordinance 756, which is the weed lot and trash complaints that we've handled. And we've got one ordinance 630, which is nuisance property that will be coming up for city council in February. We've been working with the local banks. We've got all our 25 SNAP applications sent to the Federal Home Loan Bank in Dallas, and we should be hearing back from them anytime early February to mid-February, we hope. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. And if you, to the new council members, if you wish to come discuss how I operate and what happens and what goes on, I'd be glad to sit down with you and do that.
Any questions for Mr. Rogers?
Thank you, Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
Okay, is there any unfinished business that anybody knows of? All right, new business. First is a discussion to consider buying some updated copies of the council's code book. Dr. Hilton, you did the research on this. Do you want to speak to it, or does anybody have questions?
What are you referring to by the council's code book?
That the council and the city hall uses to find our
I think we need to get new copies of it. For several years now, we've gotten Xerox copies or whatever, and I think we need to get the entire book updated and bound in the black cover. I think the municipal league does that. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. This is Jess Hilton. Sorry there. I had some difficulties with my mute button.
Okay.
But yes, as per your request, I did dig into this, and Whit Barton actually gave me the contact information, and I can attest that when I was digging around, that in the various places and offices of the city, I found, I think, probably about 3 to 4 different versions at different stages of updates. So, I mean, it does seem to me, if you want to be all on the same page, having a nice unified code book would make sense. But
yes, I would definitely like to do that. Do we need a motion?
Well, we do, and we'll need a resolution too, because it will be $2,870.
Just a question on the code book, is it something that can be put online or does it have to be printed?
Jess, do you know that?
No, ma'am. I know that we've dealt with the printed versions in the past. I mean, we have all of the ordinances that do go into the code book, but I don't know if they offer those type of services. I know that our current city website is questionable how some of that stuff goes, so I don't know that we would even have a place to host it if we could put it online.
Now, I am going to bring a proposal back to council at the end of February, our February meeting, that proposes we use a company for IT. We have a spreadsheet that compares the 4 different companies that we, or 3 different companies that we dealt with, no, 2, excuse me, 2 companies that we dealt with last year. And then we've done research with 2 others. So there are 4 different companies on this spreadsheet, and it compares the services that they offer to the total cost. One of those companies might be able to do that. I know that 2 or 3 of them would be able to, would interface, well, I know one of them would interface with our Laserfish, which is where all our ordinances and resolutions are at the moment. So if that's something y'all want to wait and explore that.
Well, I think we need to get the code book updated and put together. We went through several years there that it was Xerox, it was given out in packets, et cetera, and I'm not, you know, we just need to get that updated. That's, to me, that is a need that we've had for some time. I know that it is expensive. You know, perhaps not everybody would want to order one. I don't know. But I definitely would. I think it's necessary that we do it.
Well, and we could, you know, we've got 10 listed on this, 1 for each of you, 1 and 2 for City Hall. So we could reduce that number. What do y'all think?
Well, I would like one. I would like a copy.
Okay.
And I think someone just asked, could you upload it and turn it into like an ebook? Is that what someone just asked?
Basically.
I think that's what Michael James was asking, if it could be an online version of it.
In most cases, that can be possible, and a link would be most definitely be less expensive. I do that kind of work, so it's probably one of the companies you have, Mayor, that can probably get that done.
Okay. So, Jess, do you want to explore that?
Just to repeat, that is to explore that we're looking for ebook options.
Yes.
I can reach out. I don't know that they haven't advertised any kind of digital download or kind of thing. I mean, do you want me to go through the manipulable league that we've been using in the past, or is this something that you want to just collect the ordinances on our own and try to do like a in-house publishing that way? I just want to make sure to clarify exactly what you're asking of me.
No, I think we need to get back into the practice of sending the resolutions and our documents to the municipal league or whatever company we choose. And they have the responsibility for then making the updates and getting them to us. If we do the in-house, there are all kinds of problems with that. Mainly, you know, people come and go.
Right.
I would agree with that being a complication.
Okay, well, so why don't you investigate with Municipal League?
Okay.
And then if they don't offer that service, then maybe they know who does. And we will continue this discussion in February.
Sounds fantastic. I'll send some emails tomorrow.
Okay, is that okay with everybody?
I just think you should explore both options. I'm gonna say this, I mean, I just think you should give a report or give us, 2 options to it. I know you probably use somebody all the time, but doing a good research both ways will help us make a better decision.
Okay, sounds good. All right. Any other questions or comments about that? All right, next, Mr. Jesse Griffin with Office of Emergency Management is on with us, and he's present tonight to discuss our storm sirens. Jesse, did you hear us? Mr. Griffin? All right, well, let's move on to discuss Claims Commission, and then if he's on, maybe we can get back to him. I put this on the agenda because I've gotten questions from members of the council, in addition to many questions from the public citizens who have problems that occur. They call because they hit a pothole and it tore up their tire or their rim. Sewer backed up into their house, and so they want to know what the city is going to do for them to help take care of that. Car windshields busted by rocks that are thrown. Just those are the examples that I've gotten since I've been in office. And then when we have a meeting, someone brings up, one of the council members brings up a situation that occurred, and my answer has been to the citizens that the city is immune from tort liability. And that seems a very cruel response, but that is the response that I have been taught. And I've also learned in the last month or so that the city did at one time have a claims commission. And this is a commission that citizens were allowed to come to and discuss their financial situation that was incurred because of what they consider city negligence or caused by the city, even if it's just an accident. So I'm asking you all if you would like to start that process again or not.
So a question I have is,
about it.
how is that funded? Is that just a claim on the city's liability insurance? Is that what that is? Or is there a fund, a pool of money we got to have set aside for that?
Well, some of it might be covered under the city's liability insurance, but it's probably, because cities are immune from tort liability, it's probably a fund that cities got to set aside for. Mr. Barton may be able to answer that question better. You're muted, Whit. Where's Ben? You're still muted.
Turn your volume up.
No,
Okay.
can't hear you.
Taryn, will one of y'all call him and walk him through and see if we can figure that out?
Or Taryn, can you just unmute him? Because sometimes the organizer of the meeting can have control. Yeah.
Obviously, virtual meetings weren't taught in law school.
No, well, they weren't taught in any school. Taryn, can y'all hear me? Okay.
while we're waiting on WIT, I have a question. If you set up a commission, under what guides would they operate? I mean, what rules would they follow and where would they come from?
I would assume we would take information from the last commission that the city had that did this, and we would, use that as a guide or a starting point, and we would create it. I mean, you all would make those decisions.
When was this commission in play, and how long did they use it, and why is it no longer around? Do we know those answers?
Well, Whit knows the history. I don't. It was a long time ago, way before my time, and I think before Whit's time.
Yeah, I was about to say, because I had a little Ford Festiva, and because of some stuff in the city, in the streets, my little Ford Festiva was fixed by the city.
So you went to the Claims Commission, Clarissa?
It was when we had Mayor West, and I came to this city about some situations. Yes, with my little vehicle, I was a little tot then, but they took care of it. So I don't know how they did it, but it was here a long time ago.
Speaker. Okay, Whit is on speakerphone, so we're gonna let him answer some of these questions.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
So the answer to the first question is Mr. Wigley, they did not teach virtual meetings in law school in 1979. Maybe in 2019, but not in 1979. So a claims commission is a commission. The state has one. It is would be an arm of the city, and its responsibility would be to determine whether the city was going to pay anything for various claims that are made. Underlying, as the mayor mentioned, the city enjoys tort immunity. If we're involved in an accident, whether it's through the water and sewer department with backup in a home, or automobile accident, whatever, we're immune. We don't have to pay that. We can have liability insurance, and then it is lawful for a claim to be made up to the extent of the liability insurance. That is one way to do it, and then of course the only cost to that, or the cost to that to the city, would be the insurance premium. Another way to do it is to have a claims commission. Now, that is not something that we should enter into lightly. First of all, it is a commission. It would be appointed. Members would be appointed, and their job would be to determine if the city is liable for a situation and how much. Now, the council can create rules and regulations for the commission. One of the things it could do would be to put a cap on any single claim. $500, $1,000, even if that wasn't enough to actually pay the claim, it's maybe better than nothing. That would be something you could do. So right now, to the extent that we do not have liability insurance, we're not liable for tort. And then sometimes you do have a situation where there's something that may tug at your heartstrings a little bit, where somebody has been put upon by an act of the city that is regretful. We're not liable for that. I would argue that even to voluntarily pay something that we're not liable for is something that we should be very cautious about. First of all, that we've spent city money in a way that we didn't have to spend it. And then second of all, if you're going to pay one claim, then what claim are you not going to pay? And so, we can pick and choose. That's a bad idea.
That's very subjective.
Yeah, it is. And we stand on our immunity, and that's where we are. Like I say, to the extent that we want to find some relief to that, I think that a liability insurance policy is one thing you could do. And the attraction to that is what it's going to cost you. When you budget that, it's going to cost you the premium, no more, no less. And then the other thing you could do is have a claims commission that you're going to have to establish that commission. You're going to have to establish the rules for that commission. You're going to, I think it was Mr. Tyner's question, you're going to have to establish a budget for that commission and then go from there. And So I understand that in the past, the city of Monticello had a claims commission, and years ago, certainly prior to me being city attorney, a long time ago, and that a particular city council decided that was a bad idea. It got to cost them too much money, and so they ended that practice. That's certainly something that we can look into. I believe it would be lawful to do. The insurance policy certainly seems cleaner to me. But those would be options. Unless or until we do something, we enjoy tort immunity. And my advice to the city is that even when we're uncomfortable with it, we stand on our tort immunity. If not, if we're going to pay Peter, how do we not pay Paul?
Well, I was on the council when I don't know that we had the commission, but I do remember the trouble that we had. And the reason that it was done away with was because it was really unbelievable how many people were trying to take advantage of it. And it became just simply unmanageable. So that's why it disappeared. I agree with what Whit said. I think we should be very, very cautious about trying to, certainly not a claims commission. I would think that's a really bad idea.
Has something in particular occurred that has initiated this conversation? Is this just
No.
things that have taken place or calls or complaints since you've been in office, Mayor?
Just a long string of them since I've been in office. And I first thing I did was call Mr. Barton and say, how do I resolve this? What responsibility do we have? And I got the lesson about tort liability. And but it doesn't seem that everybody is on the council is on the same page to me. I hear complaints from council members about this particular case not being taken care of, or that particular case not being heard, maybe is a good way to say that, understood, and I understand and I hear. I too had sewer back up into my home many times over one particular situation. And, I had to, there was no responsibility on anyone's part except for mine. So I understand. I literally had to gut 2 bathrooms down to the studs. So I understand the problem. I want all the council members to understand, and I want the citizens to understand, and I want us to all be on the same page.
Well, I'm in agreement with you, Paige. I've just had these discussions with you before. I personally have had, thousands of dollars worth of damage done to my property that I fully believe the city was completely negligent on. But even with that said, I just don't think a claims commission is the right answer, because it's just a can of worms. I believe that it's going to get abused, not treated fairly. And like Claudia said, we're not going to be able to manage that.
Well, and here's one example. And this has happened several times since I've been here. Sewer backs up into someone's home, okay, and maybe they're not there to plunge or call the city to come rot out the sewer main. The sewer exists as a service to the citizens, okay? And we have recently started a No Fog Friday campaign. And FOG stands for fats, oils, and greases. If you put those things, and I think this is a widely known fact around the world, if you put those items down your sink drain, your drain is going to stop up. And it may move through your drain, but it may stop up the city sewer main, which causes a problem in someone else's home. When you flush baby wipes, swimsuits, Mr. Hammock will attest to the fact that there have been all kinds of odd and unflushable items come through the city sewer. And when citizens do those kinds of things, then the sewer line is going to stop up. So the city, I'm not sure if the city's really responsible for that.
Well, again, it's like Mr. Wrigley said, and even Mr. Barton, it can be very subjective, and it opens us up to discriminatory claims of why did we, as Mr. Barton said, paid Peter but not Paul. I just think we're treading on to, I'm not insensitive to things that happen to citizens of that, but that's a can of worms that I'm scared to open. I'm not for that.
I would say that if you feel this is an area you want to address, I think the liability policy would be the way to address it. And any potential claims sent to the company and then have their underwriters review it. It kind of transfers the responsibility of what's covered and what's not to someone other than us. So I think it protects us. It does give an opportunity for a potential claim if that is something that the council feels they want to move towards.
Mayor, I agree with Mr. James. Having spent my entire professional career in claims, the description that Mr. Wigley used of opening a can of worms might be way too mild, what we'd be getting into. And I agree with what Mr. James said, and if we want to pursue this, I would like for us to look at that avenue.
Okay.
Explore it anyway.
All right.
Well, I'm generally not a person that shoots down before I try, Mayor. I'm kind of with you on. I never like to shoot down one idea without seeing how both of them can match up. I was listening to what he was saying, what he just said about the having the liability insurance, but at the same time, I think it's fair to the city and it's fair to you as well for us to explore. If you do have that commission, we talked about what would have to be in place, the rules for the commissioners that will take on this. If you have something, for an example, from the city previously or some other city who has the commission, and I think it's fair to take a look at both options before even shutting it down altogether. So I don't see how we can make a fair decision by just our assumption unless we really take a fair look at both options.
Okay, so this is what I'm hearing, that you want to look at both options, and this is what I expect to find. When we begin to look for documentation that gives us an example of what the city of Monticello did during, I guess it was Mayor West's term, that we will not be able to find that documentation, okay? So we will explore, we'll look at other cities across the United States and see what we can find there. We will look for our documentation, but it's probably in a tote. It's probably in a tote somewhere out in the old fire station. And there are, I don't know, 500 totes out there, and they're all full.
I'm good.
Right. So we will. Yeah. So we'll research current commissions across the United States, and we'll see what we find. And then the other thing we'll do is reach out to our insurance company and find out what a liability policy would cost and what it would cover and what the deductibles would be and all that kind of stuff. And I'll report back to y'all in February. That sound good?
Yes. I think you need to give yourself a little more time than February. That's just, you got a lot on your plate, Mayor.
I'll shoot for February. Let's try for February.
All Don't put yourself under, don't commit to,
I
we're not
won't.
gonna hold you.
If it's too
We're
much,
not gonna hold you to that, but,
you need to wait till March or June.
you know, but it needs to be addressed and it's been brought up, but yeah.
Okay. All right, we'll quit. Do we need, you want to hang up or you want to stay on?
Well, I think I need to stay on.
Okay. All right.
Do this again.
Okay. All right. Is Mr. Jesse Griffin on to discuss the storm sirens? He was on earlier. Okay. We'll move on to a resolution for the personnel handbook. Can I get someone to introduce that resolution, please?
I will introduce it.
Thank you, Ms. Claudia. Would you like to introduce it and recommend that it be read by title only?
Yes.
Okay, can I get a second? Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Yes. Aye.
Yes.
All those opposed? No? Okay. Mr. Barton?
This is a resolution to amend the City of Monticello Personnel Policies Handbook.
Okay, did you all read the policy?
In part.
Say that again, Mr. Peer?
That was Cedric. In part. Yeah, I understand the majority of it.
Okay. Do you have questions?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, go ahead and ask your questions and we'll get Ms. Burchett to address those.
Okay, one of the issues I have is with the pay schedule, payroll, pay part.
Is it 6.2?
It's the part dealing with the merit raises.
I'm not exactly sure where it talks about merit raises and what is in this resolution. This is talking about vacation and sick and holiday policy.
Okay, so that's the only part that's up for discussion.
Yeah, because this is our current handbook and both chiefs, Chisholm and Akers, and myself and the police secretary got together at the beginning of the year, and it was recommended by our attorney that we come to a conclusion on how we needed to correct our current handbook, because the other proposed handbook from last year was never passed. So we went back to our original handbook, but there's still some adjustments that needed to be made in these policies based on how we've been practicing on the day-to-day. So that's what this is that we're looking at tonight.
Okay, then. So as far as one we're looking at tonight, I personally don't see anything wrong with it.
Okay. Okay. Whit, did you have something you want to say?
I'm just going to focus on the fact that the resolution is in front of us. The council will remember that I think maybe mid-December, a new phrase that we had in place that were inconsistent with the existing personnel policy. And this, the resolution that is in front of you amends the personnel policies to make them consistent with the practices. The practices basically will stand. In the main, this makes the policies consistent with our practice, and it's been vetted through the human resources, and also with the fire department, and also with the police department, and I think it's appropriate that the council can favorably consider that. I just wanted to focus that that's what this was. I know Mr. Beard had some other questions about other matters, which is fine, but this relates to that one issue.
Okay.
Patty, I've got one question. Paragraph 633, the non-uniformed employees on that first paragraph dealing with their sick pay, they accumulate 1 hour per month. When does that begin? I wasn't clear on that. Is that after 1 year of service, or is that immediately, or?
You said 633?
Yes, the first paragraph.
Yes, they immediately start occurring. Yes, they immediately start occurring their sick leave as soon as they get here. So if we have a non-uniformed employee that starts in, let's say, the second week of the month, we prorate it. That's what we've done in the past. Currently, right now, they get theirs January 1 the first of the month as soon as they have started. So, and we prorate it if they start in the middle of the month.
Okay, so if they've worked for 1 month, then they're eligible for 1 sick day, to take that 1 sick day.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, right now they get a half of a sick day. So I'm asking for them to get a full sick day.
Right, I understand. I just want to know when it started accumulating, because I'm looking over here at the uniform, and what I was reading there, it sounds like they don't get to use their sick days until after they've had 1 year of service.
That's correct. And that is federal law. So with uniformed, they don't get to use theirs. That is correct until they hit their anniversary date of their, which is their hire date for them.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was wondering what the difference was there.
Yeah. That's with sick. That's the only difference as far as that goes, and the amount of time that those employees can accumulate up to.
Okay.
Mr. Peer, did you have a question?
No, ma'am, I hold my questions.
Okay. Anybody else? All right, can I get a motion to approve this resolution?
Make a motion that we approve.
Can I get a second?
I second.
Thank you. Dr. Hilton, will you please call the roll?
Yes, ma'am. Clarissa Pace? Clarissa Pace?
Come on. What am I supposed to say here?
Do you approve the resolution?
Yes.
Cedric Leonard?
Yes.
Michael James?
Yes.
Al Pierre?
Yes.
Mark Tyner?
Yes.
Greg McCray?
Yes.
Mike Wiggly?
Yes.
Claudia Hartness?
Yes.
Okay, thank you all. Mr. Jesse Griffin, are you on? Okay. All right, then let's move on to a resolution to adopt the 2021 operating budget. Can I get someone to introduce that budget, that resolution?
I'll introduce it and move that we suspend the rules and read by title only.
Thank you, sir. Second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor of suspending the rules and reading by title only, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
Okay, the ayes have it. Mr. Barton, would you please read the resolution?
I'll read the title.
The title.
This is a resolution to adopt the operating budget for the city of Monticello for January 1, 2021 to December 31, 2021.
Any questions? Okay, can I get a motion to adopt the resolution?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. And a second?
Second.
Thank you. Dr. Hilton, will you please call the roll?
Clarissa Pace? Clarissa Pace?
You're muted, Clarissa.
Okay, I thought I said yes. I agree, accept.
Okay, great. Cedric Leonard?
Mr. Leonard? You're muted. Jess, and come back to him.
Okay, Michael James?
Yes.
Al Pierre?
Yes.
Mark Tyner? Craig McCray?
Yes.
Mike Wigley?
Yes.
Claudia Hartness?
Yes.
And Cedric Leonard?
Mr. Leonard, do you want to vote on the operating budget? There he is. Do you want to vote on accepting the operating budget for 2021? Cedric? All right, well, we'll move on. We can't hear you, so. Next, we have a resolution to adopt the 2021 sales and use tax budget. Get someone to introduce this one, please.
I will.
You want to introduce it and
I will introduce it and move that we suspend the rules and read by title only.
Thank you, ma'am. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor of suspending the rules and reading by title only, please say yes or aye.
Yes.
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 Those opposed, no. Okay, Mr. Barton.
The resolution to adopt the sales and use tax budget for the city of Monticello for the period of time from January 1, 2021 through December 31, 2021.
Okay. Before we accept this, I want you all to note that we had a conversation with Ms. Pam McEwen regarding our conversation in our last budget meeting. She made some changes which reduced her transfer of 1 cent sales tax to, Vicki, do you remember the number? I think it was 153,000.
Wow.
Vicki?
It went from, I would think the original one was 218, and then now it's down to whatever.
That's what I'm asking. What's it down to?
139, I think.
Oh, she said 139.
I think it's 139.
Okay.
So we went from 216, 250 to 201, now to 139.
Yes. And she's checking that last number, okay?
Right. Yeah,
139 is the correct number. Now, I want you all to understand that this does impact some employees, okay? And
In what manner?
I'm sorry?
In what manner does it impact employees?
Well,
Loss of jobs?
possibly.
Oh my God.
If we can transfer, then we would try and do that so that they retain some of their pay and their benefits, some of their benefits. But we're not absolutely positive that that will work out. So understand, you've got the budget in your hand for 2021 for the sales and use tax that we talked about in our budget meeting last. Okay, we can pass that one, or we can pass the one that's at 139. And further information, I have a meeting scheduled on the 3rd in Pine Bluff with Area Agency on Aging to discuss that transition that we discussed, which would be Area Agency on Aging taking over our Senior Citizen Center. And when, you know, when that happens, we don't know, we'll have no control over what happens to the employees.
So
So
Mayor, you talked
this
about
kind of concerns, oh,
transferring people from that department to other jobs within the city. Is that how I'm interpreting that?
Possibly.
Possibly. Okay.
Possibly.
Okay.
Thank you.
So it's still, if that was to happen, it's still from an expenditure standpoint, whether it's from sales tax money or from the operating budget, we're not gaining any money. If you
No,
understand.
that's right.
I mean, we're just shuffling money, whether disregard where the funds are coming from. We're just moving people to another position possibly.
Right.
And maintain that, and possibly maintain that.
Afford it to a fund that probably can't afford it.
This position, is it just one position?
No, we've got one person leaving on Friday, another person retiring probably in February, another person potentially retiring in a week now. We have lost one employee to, he moved out of state. Another employee was terminated. So we have multiple positions open right now.
Okay, with those employees leaving, could the center sustain the operation of cooking and serving?
Yes.
Okay.
So if we didn't, if she did not replace those people, if we left our budget the way it is, but simply didn't replace those people, I mean, what effect of services is that center going to have? What's that going to have on the service of the center to the citizens?
It will have a little bit of impact. It won't have, it should not impact their ability to serve. Now, Ms. McEwen, are you still can you hear and answer that question?
Yes, I'm here. I'm listening. And what it will affect is the fact that then the city will have to take over the maintenance of my building.
Who will, the city?
And then, you know, as far as the lunches, the questions about the lunches and the food, that will remain the same. It will get hectic once the center opens up. Losing 2 people, no lie. It will be added, you know, job requirements of those that are here. But I think that it is doable.
okay, so you said that the city will have to take over the maintenance? Is that what you said?
Yes, ma'am.
And then my question, can the city take on more than what they already have?
Well, it's not like it would go back to the way things were before this position was actually created here at the center.
And
Okay,
that
so
was what, Pam?
Pardon?
You said the way it was?
Yes, sir. The position that we are looking to transfer out is an employee's position that was created for the center, which added to my personal budget.
okay, so if this position you're transferring to another department where we're paying out of an operating budget. That's what you guys are saying, transferring them out of there because it was created. So when they transfer out of there somewhere else, are we still creating something else with this person?
No, he would be going to an open position within the city if that department had, and correct me if I'm wrong, if that department had accepted his application. Am I correct, Patty? Paige?
Yes, you're correct.
Yes, that's correct. We would have to have the agreement of that department head. And one of the other options is there's still potentially another vacancy that may occur in another department. So there may be 2 different department heads that we could talk to, but it's not a guarantee. We would have to basically re-interview this employee for the positions in those other departments to see if the department head wanted to accept them.
Is it, can you say exactly what those departments are and positions are? And are you saying that you already interviewed before, but we're just choosing someone to replace them out of a previous interview, or?
No,
Do you understand?
no. This individual that is at the senior center right now in the maintenance labor position, they were interviewed and hired for that position, but we have had some openings occur in some of our other departments, specifically Public Works and Parks Department. And so we would have to get those department heads agreement, and they would have to choose to hire this person in their department. They may not think that this person would be a good fit for their department. There's a lot of things that come into play, as I'm sure all of you know, when you're hiring an individual. So this person would have to sit for an official interview for those departments and go through that process. So we can't really guarantee that, yes, they're going to go immediately and transfer into another department, because there is still a process to go through for that to occur.
Can he stay on here at the center until that process is done?
Well, that would be a question about funding and all of that. That would be, I guess, a question for the council, because that would impact the funding for the position. And whenever we made the adjustment to the salary sheet that was provided to you all, that lowered the transfer amount from 1 cent sales tax for the Senior Citizen Center for 2021. It completely did not include any funding for these 2 positions. So even right now, with them still remaining at the center, you're going to have a little bit more because of January's payrolls and potentially February's payrolls for those 2 individuals that are not included right now.
So my question is this. So we're reducing the overall budget by how much money?
For the senior center or for 1 cent sales tax?
For the Senior Citizen Center.
For the Senior Citizen Center. Making those changes, it decreased it, I believe it was $63,000. That is a Vicky question. I'm not exactly sure of that number. She did the math.
And how much of that is labor?
All of it's labor.
It went from what, 216 to 139. So
All of it's labor and like their benefits and the package, because one of those employees is a full-time. So you got to take all of that into account. It dropped that whole top personnel section. The other position that Ms. Pam chose to look at, the option of cutting, was a part-time driver. So those are the 2 positions that would be defunded in that department.
The maintenance guy and his benefits and the part-time driver is where that would come from, right? By reducing those funds in that part.
That's correct.
And the maintenance and which of these 2 or both of these could be moved to another area if that department so deemed?
The only one that would potentially be able to re-interview for another position would be that maintenance labor, because they are full-time and are capable to work the full hours. I don't believe that the other individual, that's the part-time driver, I don't believe that he would be in a full-time position or physically capable, possibly. Ms. Pam could probably answer that one.
Okay.
Well, first of all, it's not Phil, it's Molly.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. Yeah, we looked at so many options.
I'm sorry, too.
And I didn't say names, but
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Being that she is going to be retiring out, that was the ultimate, oh, not that any of it's easy, but that was the other option.
All right, so you got one that's going to retire, is that correct?
Yes, Miss Molly
That
is
we-
retiring out. Well, not from the city, but she's has talked about this on numerous occasions with Patty about hours and stuff like that. And we went and decreased hours as we've gone. So not to eliminate a driving position, which gets our meals served, that was the other option that we chose.
Okay.
Now, she's also looking at increasing her meal donations again. Okay, so there were several things that we talked about. And we allowed her to make the choices.
So in the information that we got, there's an employee listing. Would that be a current listing of what your employees would be based on the recommendations that we're hearing?
Let me see.
It was basically the manager, assistant manager, cook, 2 drivers, and a part-time driver.
That would be what the staff would look like if those other 2 positions were defunded.
So you do, the maintenance person and the part-time person would be the people would be reducing, right?
That's correct.
Right. And with those benefits and all, that's this, whatever you said, amount of money, 65,000, right?
Yeah, approximately. It's around that amount. Yes.
Okay.
For me, I would be in favor of allowing the maintenance person to go through the interview process to see where he could end up and to accept her revised budget as she's presented it.
Second.
And that accomplishes our concern we had initially, was the amount of 1 cent sales money going to that. So.
Our second to Mr. James's motion.
I'll second.
Okay. Dr. Hilton, will you please call the roll?
Doris Space?
Did you call my name?
Yes, ma'am.
You did.
I don't agree with this.
Then vote no.
Oh, no, I don't know.
Cedric Leonard?
Yes.
Michael James?
Yes.
Al Pierre?
Yes.
Bart Tyner?
Yes.
Craig McCray?
Yes.
Mike Wrigley?
Yes.
And Claudia Hartnett?
Yes.
Okay. Resolution passes. Thank you all. I know that's a difficult decision to make, a difficult choice to make. But it is, I understand it without concern. And I appreciate the effort. Okay, so next we have resolution.
I'm sorry, Mayor. I just wanted to clarify, I guess, that in that I had stipulated that the maintenance person be able to
Go through the interview process.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Okay, next we have resolution to revise the operating budget for the year of 2020. Can I get someone to introduce that resolution, please?
I'll introduce it. Move we suspend the rules, read by title only.
Thank you, sir. Can I get a second? Thank you, Dr. Hilt. Let's see. All those in favor of suspending the rules or reading by title only, please say aye.
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 Those opposed, please say no. Okay, Mr. Barton.
Resolution revising the operating budget of the city of Monticello period of time from January 1, 2020 to December 31, 2020.
Questions, comments?
So just a procedural thing, because I know, why do we have to do that on money we've already spent?
By title only?
No. Why do we have to vote? Why do we have to do this? I mean,
Because
I don't know.
because we had an operating budget that we were supposed to go by.
Okay.
It's now different.
Okay.
So we update that and amend the budget, and then we're legal.
So we're amending a budget to accept the money.
We're amending the budget to accept what we actually did, what actually happened.
That's what I need to know. I just want clarity on that. Okay.
Okay. All right. Any other questions or comments? Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Thank
Okay.
you, sirs. Dr. Hilton, will you call the roll, please?
Clerk,
Yes. Do you want to vote?
Exactly what happened. That notice was out for me. Didn't do it working.
We're voting to amend the operating budget for 2020.
Yes. Okay.
Cedric Leonard,
Okay, yes, now I can hear. You call my name? Yes.
Mr.
Cedric
Leonard?
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Al Pier,
Yes.
Art Tyner,
Yes.
Craig McCray,
Yes.
Mike Wiggly,
Yes.
Claudia Hart.
Yes.
Okay, that resolution passes. Now we have a resolution regarding Planning Commission. Can I get someone to introduce that resolution, please?
I'll introduce it and move we suspend the rules and read by title only.
Thank you, Mr. McCray. Somebody second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor of suspending the rules and reading by title only, please say aye.
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 Those opposed, please say no. Okay, Mr. Barton?
It's a resolution regarding the city of Monticello.
Okay. And I want to make it clear that we are appointing John Carter and John Davis. Any questions or comments?
How long is our term?
John Carter's term is to expire December 31st, 2023, and John Davis's term, December 31st, 2025. Was that your question?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I move we adopt the resolution.
Thank you, sir. Can I get a second?
Second.
Dr. Hilton, will you please call the roll?
Clarissa Pace,
Yes.
Cedric Leonard,
Yes.
Michael James,
Yes.
Al Pier,
Yes.
Art Tyner,
Yes.
Craig McCray,
Yes.
Mike Wiggly,
Yes.
and Claudia Hartness. Claudia Hartness.
Yes.
Okay, that resolution passes. Next, we have a resolution for A&P Commission. Can I get someone to introduce this resolution, please?
I'll introduce it and move that we suspend the rules and read by title only.
Thank you, sir. Can I
Second.
get a second? Thank you. All those in favor of reading by title only, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Thank you. Mr. Barton.
A resolution regarding the city of Monticello A&P Commission, Advertising and Promotions Commission.
Okay, and I'd like to point out that this Resolution appoints Miss Annette Taylor to our commission until December 31st, 2026. Any comments or questions? Okay, can I get a motion?
Motion to accept this resolution?
Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Hilton, will you please call the roll?
Yes, ma'am. Clarissa Pace,
Yes.
Cedric Leonard,
Yes.
Michael James,
Yes.
Al Pier. Al Pier,
Yes.
Mark Tyner,
Yes.
Craig McCray,
Yes.
Mike Wiggly,
Yes.
and Claudia Hartness.
Yes.
Okay, thank you all for that. Taryn, do we have any comments or questions from the public? Okay. Okay, so there are no questions or comments from the public.
Mayor,
Yes.
I'm following the agenda. Did we approve the amendment to the sales tax, 2020 sales tax budget? We did the operating budget, but I didn't remember the sales tax.
Did I miss it? I thought we did.
I may be wrong. So whoever's taking minutes can correct my ignorance here.
No, I had the same question, actually, Mayor.
I'm sorry. Well, let's do it. I'm so sorry. I've just skipped right over. Okay, then I need a motion to, or I need someone to introduce the resolution adopting the 2021 sales tax budget.
No,
But no.
no, it's
2020.
it's to amend the 2020 sales
And the
tax.
2020 sales and use tax? Okay,
Yes.
sorry. So I
Yeah.
need someone to introduce that resolution.
I think I introduced it, but I'll do it again and move that we suspend the rules and read by title only.
Okay, can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor by title only, please signify by saying yes.
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 All those opposed? No, okay. Mr. Barton, would you please read the resolution?
Yes, this is a resolution to amend the city of Monticello sales and use tax budget for the period of time from January 1, 2000 through December 31, 2000.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Thank you. Motion to approve the resolution.
So moved.
Get a second. Okay, Mr. Tyler. Dr. Hilton, will you please call the roll?
Yes, ma'am. Clarissa Pace,
Yes.
Cedric Leonard,
5 states in terms of
Cedric,
Yes. And somebody keep muting me.
Michael James,
Yes.
Al Pier,
Yes.
Mark Tyner,
Yes.
Craig McCray,
Yes.
Mike Wiggly,
Yes.
and Claudia Hartness.
Yes.
Okay, y'all, I'm so sorry. I just get ahead of myself, I guess. All right, so there are no comments from the public. I'd like to give you my State of the City address, which is just kind of a rundown of what all we've done this year. I would like to start out by saying that the state of our city is strong and getting stronger. We're continuing our cross-training program, and we've obtained 11 additional licenses. We'll be losing 2 of those licenses shortly, one for higher pay and one for a move out of state. We've started an inventory system at the warehouse. We've not been able to value the contents in the past, and my hope is to be able to do that soon. We've also started a tracking system that allows us to track expenses on each piece of equipment and the equipment itself. My hope is that this system helps us to become data-driven when future equipment decisions need to be made. We've overlaid Pope Street, Chapman, Edgewood, and Patton Streets. These streets are heavily traveled by our citizens and surround one of our important industries. We've hired a construction company to repair our lake levee. Arkansas Game and Fish has dedicated a tremendous amount of time, labor, and resources for fish habitat. And we're repairing our docks at the lake and have plans to improve the swim area. We enacted a records retention policy so we can better organize city records and at some point make them more easily accessible to our citizens. All ordinances from 1946, resolutions from 1980 have been scanned and can now be retrieved in case of a catastrophic event. We've been working on minutes and agendas and have those scanned from 1930 to current. And we're now working on 1900 to 1929. Okay, and before our ordinances in 1946 and resolutions in 1980, those documents were included in the minutes of council meetings. So they are not separate documents. So when we continue the scanning, we will end up in one document that is scanned. We'll have ordinances, resolutions, minutes, and agendas. We began a permitting process so we could comply with state laws and create a surety that our citizens and our contractors are protected and playing on a level field. We're keeping up with our corrective action order from ADEQ with the continuation of our sanitary sewer evaluation study, dredging 2 of the lagoons at our east sewer plant, and having installed a monitoring system that works correctly at our west plant. Monticello Police Department has received almost $32,000 in grants, and they now have a canine member of the department named Caesar who's trained and working. Our Planning Commission is organizing and anxiously awaiting results from our community survey. MEDC's constant attention and nurturing has produced the Scoggin Drive project, and we've learned that it will go to bid during the first half of 2022. This will bring a solution to our traffic issues in our health and education district. We'll be getting 2 roundabouts in this project, and preliminary work has begun to replace infrastructure on Main Street as a part of that project. We were awarded $63,000 grant from Monticello Historic Post Office, and that work will be completed this year. We were awarded the RTP grant for a very exciting project at our lake. This project is a direct result of citizens becoming engaged, involved, and taking necessary steps to make it happen. Maybe you've heard of the multi-use trail coming soon. We've also been awarded 2 grants for sidewalk projects, and we'll begin construction on one of those sidewalks this year. Monticello and our municipal airport lost a dear man this year, Mr. James Barnett, who managed our airport for 30 years. He passed away. Our deepest sympathy is extended to his family, and we're learning how to carry on in his memory. Our airport received over $1.5 million in grants to rehab the apron and overlay the runway. And this is thanks to our Airport Commission and its chair, Mr. Benji Ryburn. Our Advertising and Promotion Commission has given us a new logo, some welcome signs that are not completed yet, but will be soon, and we'll soon launch a new website that promotes Monticello. All of these projects have been started, are continuing, or have been completed with a tremendous amount of help and engagement from individual citizens, local groups, MEDC, all our commissions, Arkansas Game and Fish, and so many others in the middle of a pandemic. The Easter storm and COVID-19 have certainly created challenges, but they did not stop us from moving ahead and making progress. We should all be proud of who we are and where we live because we've not become stagnant. We have advanced during one of the most arduous times in our nation. Change doesn't happen without input and action. We need you to become involved, and we welcome your ideas and your input. Your council and I desire the best for Monticello, and we're striving to make sure we always have the best. Thank you very much.
Mayor, I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Do we know when we're going to start construction on the levee repair, or has it started?
He called me the other day. Weather has delayed staging, but he thinks that they're going to start, unless Charlie, has he called you? Did he call you this week? They're going to start staging is like next week, I think.
Okay, so real soon then.
Yeah, they're
Okay.
ready to go. They're waiting on the job, so they're
Okay.
waiting on the weather to dry up enough that they can start.
Sure. Yeah, I just asked because I've had a couple of citizens ask me about it, and I really didn't know where we stood on that. I knew we were waiting. So
Right.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Mayor,
Anybody?
I have some questions.
Yes, ma'am.
You made mention of some appointments to these different committees. Can you tell me how do you guys come to the conclusion of these appointments to the different city commissions? What is the consideration? And is it just up to one person to make that decision?
Generally, we look for a person who lives in the same ward that the vacated position is. Okay. And I asked for planning commission example, I asked for nominations and input, and I got one nomination, and that was for someone very close to you, Ms. Pace, and because you were going to be a council member, I could not appoint or consider that person. The other person that was nominated was given to me. Now, we went 2 or 3 months looking for someone, and I was waiting all that time for someone to nominate somebody else. No one did, so I waited until the election was over and looked around to see who was interested, and there was these 2 people were interested. They had contacted the city about wanting to be involved, and so that's how that decision was made. AMP commission members, I think, are well aware that they may nominate at any moment anyone to serve. No one was nominated, so I called a few people and asked who would be interested, and I got a taker.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's been a suggestion by Mr. Boyce to basically put an application on our city website and have people who are interested fill that out. And they can state whether they're interested in this commission or that commission or all the above, and then we can take names from that to see who fits, and if there's any common names that come between the commission and those group of applications. And I'm very interested in doing that.
Okay, sounds good, because it been mentioned to me about adding diversity to our appointments and to the different commissions. And there are several people that, outside of just sometimes who we just think we know, there are more citizens in this area, in any of the areas I just know that could probably be willing to work.
I started that planning commission this year. I put several people on that commission that I did not know, and several people from minority groups in Monticello. And one in particular promptly quit, so that left a position open for quite some time. It's difficult to find people who want to serve. There's no pay, and it requires a significant amount of your time if you're going to read the documentation and engage and really do a good job at it.
Okay, well, I got a list of folks that would be willing to be committed to serve. If you need anything, ask me, because sometimes it's just a little circle that's in. I don't know who that was that quit, but I've been knowing people for years who will be committed. It's just never been an opportunity to ask, okay? So I'm willing.
Good.
Paige, the application online is a good idea to get, so people know about it and can apply. But just if we do that, just I know you know this, but just keep in mind that on the A&P commission, there's certain criteria that some of those positions have to have. They have
That's
to
right.
be in the tourism business or something along those lines. And
Yes.
there are some, I think maybe 2 at large, I think, I'm not sure. Whatever, I can't remember what the Constitution says on that.
I don't remember either off the top of my head, but yeah, you're right. There are, Nita, you want to speak to that? 1 at-large member.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, there are particular criteria that some commissions require. Mr. Peer, did you have a question?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Mr. Leonard does.
Mr. Leonard?
Yes. Can we make plans for February's meeting to be in public?
Amen.
Because this ain't working for me.
I'm with you, Cedric. You got my vote.
No.
We can do that. I have tried very hard to make sure that we're all safe, and considering the condition of the world right now, I have determined, and it's just my determination, but I had some attaboys that we meet virtually, and I don't like it either. It stinks. It's difficult. And the public cannot engage the way they really should be able to. So I don't like.
I didn't want to amend the meeting on the minutes, but I've been at the last 3 meetings, budget meetings and council meetings, but I never could get through. I hear everybody talking, but for me saying anything, I guess it's a good thing. I wasn't able to say anything.
You said that before to me, and I don't disagree.
But like I said, I like to seriously look at next month trying to have a in-person social distance meeting.
Okay, we'll consider it for sure.
I'm in agreement, Cedric.
I consider it every month because this is not easy and it's not fun for anybody. It's a lot of extra work for Taryn. It's a lot of extra. Patty ends up having to help. Vicky ends up having to help get all this organized, and it's way more difficult. So
Plus, it would make it easier on the lawyer, and that's what we're really all concerned about.
Well, now, when we were in that municipal league conference, I did hear one of the presenters say that we use GoToMeeting, and said most cities are using it, but it was more effective, they had found, to use Zoom. So it may be another consideration of the platform that you're using, because I use Zoom all the time and can go public and see what the public is doing. We could all see that. And by the way, what page was it on? Because I did have people asking me where to see it, and I didn't see it on the city page. So where were they viewing?
It's generally on our Facebook page, which is Monticello, the heartbeat of Southeast Arkansas.
Didn't see it when I went to look a few minutes
ago. And it works.
Right, okay.
That's the operative phrase there, when it works.
Yeah, so you might want to try Zoom, because with the business page, Zoom webinars work.
We actually did try Zoom at first, and we had many of the same issues. And because it was more expensive than GoToMeeting, we decided to do GoToMeetings because we have a budget.
Sound like you're getting what you pay for.
Yes, it does. But again, we had the very same problems with Zoom that we have with GoToMeetings. So,
Motion to adjourn.
No, not yet.
Who's got another question?
I don't have a question. I have a recommendation.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Going forward, Mayor, in 2021 budget, I would like the city council, the mayor, HR, the city attorney, and the department's head to review and update the current handbook, and in doing so, and build on it, okay? The next recommendation, the city council, the mayor, HR, financial department, review the current pay scale. Third, going forward, form a committee of the city council, the mayor, and HR, and finance to look at a new pay scale structure. Also, the city attorney to do a resolution for implementation on the current handbook and the pay scale structure as it is reviewed and updated.
Okay, I only got 3 of those.
Okay, which one did you get, Mayor?
I got review and update the current handbook as it affects the 2021 budget. I got review the current pay scale. And I got a
Okay.
resolution to implement the reviewed pay structure.
Okay, did you get the committee, I mean, the city council, the mayor, the HR, the city attorney, and the department head for number 1
Yeah, I thought this, you said
to
that for
review these things?
all of them.
All of them, yes, yes.
Okay. So there were only 3 things that you want to do?
Well, it's the 4th one with the city attorney to do the resolution and implementation to make it happen as it is completed.
Okay. So if that was the 4th thing, I have that as the 3rd thing. I'm missing one.
Okay, number 1, the city council, mayor, HR, city attorney, and department heads to review and update the current handbook and build on it. You got that one?
I do.
Okay. Next, the city council, mayor, HR, and finance director review the current pay scale.
I got that one.
Form a committee, the city council, the mayor, finance, HR, to look at a new pay scale structure. You got that one?
That's the one I did not have.
Okay.
I lumped it in with the review the current pay scale. Okay.
Okay. Okay. I would like to see those things happen, and going forward, I think we all will be on the same page. Everything, forget the past, go forward with a positive budget and policies.
Okay. So how often do you want this committee to meet?
I think that would be determined when the committee get together, and they would decide.
Okay. So when would you like the first meeting to be?
Could we get back on that and give some dates?
Sure. Okay. So, I mean, it sounds like you formed the committee basically already, because it's.
Okay,
Yes,
let
ma'am.
me ask you.
Who's that?
I don't
Cedric?
mean I don't mean to cut anybody off or anything like that, but seem like Al on that 3rd item that could be addressed in a regular budget meeting. I mean,
Which
that's
one?
just something
Which
to
one?
look at. The third item
Huh?
you had. The third item.
Form a committee to
Yeah,
look
I
at
mean,
a
that
pay.
seems like that's budget committee business right there. We can do that in a budget meeting.
That's a lot to bite off in a budget meeting.
Yeah, I think so, because on the tail end of that, Cedric, is the salary structure.
Okay, I see where you're going now.
Okay.
All right, so you've already formed the committee. So we'll wait to hear from you about when you, and,
Okay, that's just a recommendation from me.
right,
You know.
okay. Well, we'll look and see. You let me know when you want to get together and we'll coordinate the meeting from this office and, try to do it when everybody can be available. So just, I'll wait on you to give me a date.
Is he
Yes, ma'am.
requesting the
Yes,
entire
ma'am.
council be a part of this committee?
That's the way I understood it.
I'll clarify,
Yes, sir.
please. Was that a yes?
Yes, sir.
I think that's
Okay.
way too many people to be on a committee to get anything done in an efficient manner. You want to select 2, 3, maybe 4 people off the council to be, I think that's a little bit better decision than having all 8 of us plus these other individuals that are going to be there.
Okay.
That's just a city council meeting.
Well, true. I just didn't want to leave anyone out.
Well, I will nominate myself not to be on that committee. So it's just, I'll deal with it when it comes to city council.
So the point of it, Al, are you saying the point of it, of going in this direction? What's the direction, the point of it? Is so
Again,
you can
Teresa.
have, what is the point of going in this direction? Perhaps before everybody can comment.
Okay. The point, to me, the point going in this direction is, okay, first of all, we had a handbook on the table, and I think it was half a year, didn't go anywhere. It was batted back and forth like a ping pong ball. So let's look at the current handbook and build on it. All right, the pay schedule. How many times in the budget meeting? How many times in the council meeting has it came up? Who making what scale? Who doing this and who doing that? Do you want to continue to have that verbiage? No questions? Or do you put a stop to it and just everybody be on the same page?
So Al, you want to form an HR committees, to review pay scales and how they with the grades and the pay slots within it, et cetera. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Now, now that's just my recommendation. If you guys want to continue to bounce things back and forth, and I know Paige, you probably got tired. No, I can't say. You probably got tired of answering this question, answering that question. Be positive, everybody on the same page.
What I
It
had,
sounds
I
feasible.
don't care who. I
what
wouldn't who served on committees as long as it got done.
what I had decided was that as we came upon practices that were not, that we were not, practices that were not in the handbook, that we would just create another resolution and change that handbook section to fit what our practice was. And we will have to change the pay scale at some point because it's obsolete. It doesn't work anymore. Minimum wage has been raised again, And there is no, the pay scale does not work. But, you know.
So therefore, something needs to be done.
Right. And we will address it. I mean, that was my idea was to just wait until we had found an example where our policy did not match our practice and amend the handbook like we did tonight. We passed a resolution to change the policy in the handbook to match what we were practicing. And I am not going to recommend that we change a policy to match a practice unless the practice is good for the city. And I don't, Patty would not do that either. And neither Vicky would not want that to happen either. So, you know, there would be some internal controls, if you will. But I'm open to whatever you want to do, whatever everybody wants to do. Again, I'm to the point where you'll just give me a date. I'll poll everybody and see if they want to be on it, and we won't leave anybody out. We'll include everybody that wants to be included, and form a committee.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Anybody else have anything to add?
When's our next meeting?
It will be February 23rd.
Jesse Griffin never showed up.
Is that the skit? I mean, do we have any other committee meetings? Like, do we have a finance committee meeting or anything like that between now and the next council meeting?
We will have a finance committee meeting. Hang on a second. We will have a finance committee meeting at 5:30 before that next council meeting on the 23rd.
Oh, it's the day of the meeting. It's the day of the council meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank
Unless
you.
Vicky wants to change it, but I that's why we've been doing it and it seems to work.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Anything else from anybody else?
So finance and the regular council meeting will be on the 23rd. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Anybody else?
One other thing, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate you all listening. And Mike, I do understand, Mike Wiggly, I do understand you wouldn't want to be on that committee. In the committee.
That's correct, Al. I just think that's just too many people, and you've got a lot of smart people on the council that can do that. So I mean, you and maybe one or two other people from the council would be my suggestion. But no, I just think 8 plus everybody else would be too many. I don't think we'd be able to get anything done.
Understood.
Okay. Anybody else? Can I get a motion to adjourn?
We already have one on the
Motion to
floor. We just need a second.
Okay,
Second.
Mr. McCray, will you change your, okay, all right, we got it. Thank y'all very much. Have a lovely rest of the evening, and I'll see
Thank
you,
you.
if not before, I'll see you February 23rd.
Good night.
Good night.
Night.
Good night. Good night.